Hi, this is Jack. This is going to be my bar by bar review of the S&P 500 futures contract for December 10th, 2024. First bar of the day is a very large bear bar closing on its low. You can see here this thick dashed green line, which represents last month's high. And yesterday, at the end of the sell-off, we touched that line twice and found buyers, which explains why we gapped up on the open today. But the first bar of the day, we rejected that gap, and I expect us to go lower. But as with any open, 50-50 chance that the first move is the wrong direction. So always better to wait for more information. And then bar 2 is a small bull reversal bar, prominent tail on the top of the bar, and this may not be enough to reverse the damage caused here by the bears on the first bar of the day, but if the first bar of the day is in the wrong direction, bar 2 represents a fairly good signal bar for the bulls looking to buy. We also have the 20 EMA just above, and it's likely that we'll test it because we did not quite get there on bar 2. And on bar 2, we broke out below 1, trapping the bears that sold the close or sold below 1, and they may be disappointed here on bar 2 and look to either sell more higher, or if we start to reverse down, buy back their shorts, thinking that we're in an overall trading range, and this could be the low of the trading range. Bar 3 looks like we tested the low close and found buyers, and then the stop entry triggered above 2, and this bar closed on its high. Bar 3 is breaking out above the EMA, and we're probably always in long by context, not necessarily by trend analysis. We are still in an overall bearish environment. We have a lower high here. We have the higher time frame EMA sloping downward here. And the first bar of the day tells you that the bears are quite strong. So possibly always in long by context, meaning that we have a micro double bottom and trapped bears who will probably start to cover or hold short with a wide stop and then look to sell again higher. And for that reason, we may continue to rally. So I thought 3 was a reasonable buy the close bar, stop down below 2. And I thought bar 2 was a reasonable stop entry long, stop down below 2, or stop down below 78. Below probability, it's still early in the day. There's only been 3 bars, so there's not that much information on the day so far. The gap closed on the open, so you know that we're at least in a trading range. We're near the middle of the range now, so probably better to do nothing. Bar 4, breakout bar, minimal follow through for bar 3, but prominent tail and a lower high. It's a sell signal bar for a stop entry short, and I expect us to go lower, but even if we do go lower, I expect us to find buyers somewhere, possibly at the 2 high, or maybe somewhere inside the range of 3. Bar 5, big bear bar, breaking out below the EMA and below the high of 2. Trying to get back to the low close on 1 and not quite getting there. We're forming a slightly higher low here, but I expect us to go lower. Bar 5 is strong enough for a second leg down. Trader sold to close of 4. And I expect whatever bears held through this rally are going to be disappointed with this rally and look to buy back their shorts at the close of 5 or below 5. Bar 6, we have a micro double bottom with 5 and a strong bull bar closing on its high above the EMA. Strong bear bar, and they bought it. Decent rally, and they sold it. Big strong bear bar, and we bought it. We're clearly in a trading range, and if you take a look here, we have lower highs and higher lows. We have a triangle. It's a triangle open, which is a trading range open. We already know we're in a trading range because of the first bar of the day and the bad follow through on 2. And this is more evidence that we're probably going to have a lot more trading range action, price action for the rest of the day. So bar 6, strong bar, probably always in long by context and probably going higher, but we may pull back first before we go higher. Small pullback and a rally on 7, little tail on the top of the bar, trying to break out of the triangle here. I expect us to go higher, but we may need to pull back a little bit more. Also, it's a trading range, so it's clearly bullish now, and it's reasonable to expect it to become clearly bearish next. We have a doji bar. It's a bull breakout bar. Reasonable sell signal for a short. Could be a double top with the open of 1. Maybe bulls are disappointed enough with this bar that they'll look to cover, or take profit on their longs, or get out of their longs below this bar. For that reason, it's a decent short, but there's so much buying pressure here, and we're starting to break out of the triangle. It looks like it could be failing, but then again, we could simply be testing the top of the triangle here. We broke out above it on this bar, pulled back to test that trend line on this bar. So it's reasonable to expect to find buyers down here. We found buyers at the low of 7. And if we break out below 8, we may find buyers down there again. We also have the EMA just below. But remember, we're in a bear environment overall. The higher time frame EMA is sloping down. We have a lot of selling pressure. We had a sell climax day yesterday, trading range middle of the day, but then a sell climax at the end of the day. It looks like an overall leg in a trading range, but overall, it's a bearish environment. We have this monthly high here that has not been tested today yet. It was tested briefly yesterday, but this could be a magnet, and it could be drawing us lower. This is also the low of yesterday. Yesterday was a big bear bar on the daily chart. You can tell because we opened up here and we closed down here. And that means whatever pullback we get into yesterday's range, we may find sellers somewhere at the midpoint, and we may have to break out below yesterday's low. Or if we continue to rally strongly, we can break out above that last major lower high, break back above the higher time frame EMA, and then rally and test yesterday's high. But I don't expect that to happen here because we're mostly sideways and we have a considerable amount of selling pressure so far. So bar 8, possibly buyers below, reasonable signal bar for the short, and for that reason it's confusing, which means you're definitely in a trading range. Bar 9, we broke out below and triggered the short, but we trapped the bears. It's a micro double top with 8, but it's a doji bar with a bull body. So fairly neutral bar, fairly neutral market. And if you're a bull and you're long and you're getting a couple of doji bars, a micro double top, and an actual double top, you've got to be disappointed. And for that reason, we may find sellers above these highs, especially above bar 1. Bar 10, breaking out above 1 and closing above, it's a good bar. It's a strong bar. And if we keep rallying like this, we could turn into a bull trend. But this is the breakout bar. We need to see the follow-through bar. And bar 11 is the follow-through bar, and it's a bear inside bar. We had a deep pullback, nearly completely undoing the prior bar, and we reversed up, closing above the midpoint. It's a buy signal bar with a bear body. So it's a low probability buy above the bar, and I expect us to find sellers up here if we do rally above that bar. It's also not that good of a sell signal bar because it's closing above its midpoint. It is a bear bar, and you could say that it's a sell signal just because it's a bear bar. The context is fairly decent for a short. We have 1, 2, 3 legs up. So it's reasonable to consider shorting below this bar, but the problem is we could find buyers below any of these lows. And it's a trading range day, so everything's going to be disappointing. For the bulls, this is disappointing. And I imagine whatever the bears get, it's probably going to end up being disappointing. And then we get 12. 12 is a breakout bar, closing beyond the prior bar and undoing the close of the last 5 or 6 bars. So it's doing some damage, but we didn't get that far. This bar is maybe only 3.5 points big. And we didn't cover much distance below the stop entry here. And the small tail on the bottom of 12 tells me that bears may start scalping out if we start to rally. It could be a higher low in a bull channel, spike, pullback channel with this rally. But overall, what happened here was a double top, and now we have a bear breakout. So it's reasonable to look to start to sell. The only problem is the EMA right here. So we're in an overall bull environment on one hand, and on the other hand, we're in a larger bear environment, and that's confusing. And that's because we're in a trading range, so probably better to do nothing for now. Bar 12 probably needs a second leg. Although it could in and of itself be a second leg down. We broke out, or tried to break out, on 11, pulled back, and then broke out on 12. So it's 2 legs down in a rally. We're trying to test support, which could be the 6 high or the 5 high. 5 high would be the stop entry for the bulls that triggered on 6. We didn't quite get there, so we may get there and find buyers. Or we could find buyers below the low of 9. And if we do find buyers and rally, I expect us to find sellers up here. Bar 13 tested the bad buy signal bar 5 and reversed up. The only problem is I watched this bar and it reversed up in the last 30 or 45 seconds of the bar, which tells me it's a buy vacuum test of resistance. What's resistance? It could be the pivot here. It could be the high close here on 10. Or it could be the start of the channel from the sell-off at the end of the day yesterday, bar 56 here. So not a buy the close bar, buy a pullback. Instead, we tested the EMA and rallied as well. So the bulls have a lot going on for them. However, we also have a bit of an expanding triangle here. So this could just be a tight trading range forming, and we may find sellers up here for that reason. And remember earlier, I said I expect to find sellers above the high of 1, which we did. And now after this 2 legs down, the bulls may be disappointed and may look to sell the close of 13 and take profits, or get out with a smaller loss if they haven't already. So there's a lot of reasons to look to sell up here. If I'm a buyer, I'd be looking to buy lower. And if I'm a seller, I would wait for a bear bar. Bear bar on 14. Trader sold the close of 13, disappointed with the bad follow-through on 11 and 12. This bar is closing below the midpoint, but a prominent tail, so it's a sell signal bar with a bear body. Reasonable stop entry short for the bears. The only problem is the EMA is sloping up now, and we're inside of a bull channel. And inside of bull channels, generally, you only look to buy, and you look to buy low. So I want to buy near the lows of the bars, or in the buy zone of the bars, like here. Why do you think we reversed up where we did on 11? That's because we were in the buy zone of 10 inside of a bull channel. And here, why do you think we found buyers below the 8 low? That's because we entered the buy zone of 7 here. And why do you think we reversed up just below the midpoint here on 13? That's because everything below the midpoint of a bar is the buy zone. And when you're in a channel, you look to buy in the buy zone. But bad follow through for this breakout bar 13. I expect us to find more sellers up here. 15. 2-bar reversal, trying to break out. Micro double top with 13. Prominent tail here. Testing the high close 13. Maybe going a little bit higher, but again, I think we're going to find sellers up here. And I'm not willing to buy high in a shitty bull channel. I say shitty. I shouldn't say that. It's really a weak bull channel with a lot of overlap. 16. Bear doji bar. We broke out to a new high of day and found sellers and reversed down. We have a neutral bar, and we're probably going to go more sideways, probably more sellers above. I think if we get a breakout below this bar, it's reasonable to look to short. The only problem is that hasn't really been working so far today. We broke out below 8, reversed up. Broke out below bear bar 11, reversed up. What do you think is going to happen here if we break out below 16? Bear surprise, actually. We found more sellers on the breakout now instead of buyers. And that's interesting because it's changing the character of the market. We also have a small reversal up into the close of the bar, testing the EMA. So that tells you this may be support. We could be testing the low close on 12 and reversing up as well. So there may be more buyers here than sellers. The only problem is now we have a micro double top on a line chart with an actual double top with a high of 1. It's at least 2 or 3 legs up in this bull channel. So we have a wedge, some double tops. Not an ideal sell signal bar on 16, but a good breakout bar on 17. And let's see what the follow through looks like. Small pullback and then good follow through. 18. 18 has a big body compared to the body of 15. A failed bull rally above 18 and close on or near its low. We're also closing below the line chart pivot here, the low close of 12, and we're still holding above the low of 13 where we found buyers before. 13, remember, was also testing the high of 5 where we found buyers for a second leg up after this rally. Leg 1, pullback 2. We could have a wedge here, 1, 2, 3, and now we might need a couple of legs sideways to down. Based on 17 and 18, I expect us to go a lot lower, at least test the bottom of the range maybe. Assuming we don't find buyers here, we could find buyers here. For that reason, it may be wise to look to sell a pullback rather than sell the close of 18, but I do expect us to go lower. And I expect us to go lower because we're in an overall bear environment. We have lower highs, we have a lower low, we have this magnet support down here, as well as a low close of 5. If you're a bear, you see 1, you see the sell signal bar, you sell here, or maybe you sell the close, stop up there, or stop somewhere else. In any case, you sell the close of 5, hold all the way through here, you're going to look to get out, break even, or with a small loss if you held. So there are buyers somewhere down here. We also have this triangle here. Let me try to draw it. I don't have the, let's see, F2. I'm using NinjaTrader, and I don't have all the hotkeys memorized yet. So here's the triangle. I think the fib is F8. This is the midpoint of the triangle. I expect us to get here. In fact, I remember watching the market today with Al, and when 17 formed, I thought clearly always in short, probably going lower, just because of the energy of the market and how much distance we covered below this bar. You know, if you look at all the breakouts above bars here since this rally, really we only have one good stop entry for the bulls. Every other bar has bad follow through, didn't get very far above the prior bar. And now the bears are covering a lot of distance below 16. A lot of distance. So that tells me we're always in short, possibly on this bar, and certainly by 18. And if that's the case, some of the targets that I'm looking at would be the low of a trading range, or maybe the midpoint of a tight trading range, or the midpoint of a triangle like this. So I expect us to maybe get here. I expect us maybe to get here, and maybe down to this magnet here, last month's high. For bar 18, it's 2 legs down. We have an intra-bar pullback, so it's 2 legs down, even though we don't have an actual pullback. We're below the EMA. We're near the 13 low, and we're near the start of the channel here, 7. If this is a spike pullback channel trading range, we're testing the bottom of the range here. So we may find some buyers. We may start to hesitate, but right now I'm bearish and I'm looking to sell. So I'll probably look to sell a pullback if we get one. We broke out below 18 and reversed up. Actually, let's take a look where we reversed up from. I'll just go ahead and measure from top to bottom here. So we tested the midpoint of this tight trading range open, and let me test, I think it was F2. I could just draw the midpoint of this bar here. This would be the last bar of the triangle. So the midpoint would be here. Now, how do I draw F3? There. So we nearly got to the midpoint of the triangle here on 19 and reversed up. We found a lot of buyers here. And this could be buyers that were waiting for a deeper pullback for a bigger second leg up from this whole rally. And that's reasonable. And I remember the energy of this bar. There was a lot of strong energy. It seemed like bears were covering and bulls were buying. And I think if you're holding short, you probably have to get out of your shorts above this bar. It's a failed breakout below the EMA, a really strong buy reversal bar, bull reversal bar. So that's reasonable. The stop entry above 19 never triggered. Instead, traders sold the close of 19. Clearly, the bears are stronger than the bulls here. We have a micro channel. We have a micro channel since 16, and we still have not had an actual pullback on the chart. Obviously, 18 and 19 represents a pullback and a trendline break on a smaller time frame, but on this time frame, we're in a micro channel. So 20, it's a big bar. We're probably going to pull back before we go lower. And I suspect because of the tail on the bar that the bears that were short started to cover. And for that reason, I expect to pull back. It's also a big bar, and that means that there's big risk. And anytime there's big risk, traders look to sell a pullback rather than sell the close. Plus, just look at the chart. Is there any sense of urgency to do anything today? No, there's not. I mean, maybe there was a small sense of urgency to buy this stop entry above 2, but really everything else, I think you could have just waited and done just fine. Just waiting. You know, maybe the stop entry here below 4, but it's a bull bar, so just wait. Anyways, probably going to pull back before we go lower. And then 21, reversing up from below 20. Big tail on the top of the bar. Maybe going higher. Maybe bears get out above that bar, but if they do, they probably look to sell higher. We're in the middle of the range. We're near the bottom. And it doesn't make sense. We're in the middle of the range right now. We tested the midpoint and reversed down. I think it's overall more bearish than bullish. There's a significant amount of buying pressure here, but I think the bears are going to be stronger. And I think we've ended the bull phase and we're still inside of the bear phase. Bear inside bar 22. I think we're going to go lower. We'll probably find sellers above that high. Micro double top and then a sell-off, probably going lower. Outside bar 24, doji bar. We could have a micro double bottom, but it looks like it failed. On a line chart, I'm going to have to configure this later. On a line chart, we went down, up, down, and then we went sideways. And I say micro double bottom because down, up on 24, but it failed. We broke out above 23, found sellers, and reversed down. So we have a micro double bottom, but it could be failing because 24 broke out above 23 and found sellers. For that reason, I think we're going to go lower, but we could rally before we go much lower. 25, breakout pullback sell, probably sellers above. Follow through, but inside bar with a weak close, channeling lower. I'm sure on a lower time frame, this is some sort of spike and channel bear trend, at least from here, bar 20. But to me, this looks like a leg in a trading range. There's a lot of overlap, bad follow through, big tails on the bars. I suspect we'll get a little bit lower, but we're getting close to the bottom of the range and near support, where we will start to find buyers. We're testing the low close here. What was that hotkey? F3. We're testing low close here on 5, and it looks like we may be closing a little bit below it. So probably going a little bit lower, but then we have another low close on 1, and we have the actual lows, 2, 6, and 78 here, this green line, as support. Doji bar channeling lower, and then bull reversal bar 28. 28 I thought was a reasonable stop entry long for the bulls because we're testing the low close, this pivot low, that low close. It could be a double bottom. It's consecutive sell climaxes with bad follow through and big tails here. So the bears may start to cover above that bar. Instead, we found sellers. And I was in the trading room today. I listened to Al for the first part, and then Brad took over right about here. I think Brad said that he was long in here, or maybe not. Maybe it was a couple of bars later. I think he scalped out disappointed. And I wasn't trading today, but mentally, I told myself, all right, let's take this stop entry and see what happens. And we started to hesitate up here midway through the bar, and then we started to reverse. And I thought to myself, all right, I would probably scalp out here. This is probably going to fail. And sure enough, we're starting to fail. So 29, probably going lower, but tight trading range. 30, buyers below. Weak close, maybe going higher. It's a second entry long for the bulls and an actual, and a micro double bottom for the bulls and a bigger double bottom. Could be a higher low double bottom. We're near support, holding above. Maybe going higher, but probably whatever rally we get won't get very far. It's a trading range day and it'll probably be disappointing just like all of this so far. Inside bar, bear bar, 31. And then bull breakout bar, 32. This is the breakout bar. breaking out above the high of 29, but failing to close up there, testing the EMA and selling off into the close of the bar. Let's see the follow through. Big outside down bear bar, bit of an expanding triangle here. You could argue something like that. So probably going lower. It's an ugly expanding triangle, but it could be there. I'm not sure. We're closing at the low of the last leg up. And I expect us to break out below it, but that's support, and we have support right here. So we may not go much lower before we start to pull back and have a deeper pullback. Channeling lower 34, and then a rally on 35. If I were flat, I certainly would not take the stop entry above 34. First of all, it's a bear bar closing below its midpoint, so it's not even a buy signal bar, and probably we'll find sellers up here. So likely we'll probably find sellers at the close of this bar. Sellers above 36, but weak close, maybe buyers below. Tight trading range. I think this might be called a pennant pattern. If I were another trader, I might use that term. I'm not sure if that is or not. It looks like it kind of here, like a diamond shape. I don't know. Anyways, it's a tight trading range above all else. Probably going lower, but then bull surprise, 37. Problem with 37 is this is the breakout bar, and it looks like a buy vacuum test of resistance. It could be the test of the top of the channel here, 21. And we need to see the follow-through bar. And the follow-through is an inside bar, and it's a bear bar closing on its low. Reasonable to sell below that bar or even sell the close. I think it's a little risky because 37 has some energy in it, and we may find buyers down here, or at least hesitate before we go down. So probably better to wait and sell a pullback. 39, there's a pullback. Maybe sellers above. It's a doji bar, testing the EMA, reversing up. We could be forming some sort of bull channel here, but ultimately this is two legs up in some sort of expanding triangle, and we're near resistance. 21 high, the low close here, 18. Let me see if I have, no, I don't have a hotkey for it, but here, it's a lower high, and this is what I mean. It's a breakout test of the 18 close right here. So probably sellers up here. Small bull bar on 40, and then big sell to close bar 41, or excuse me, I mean trader sold to close of 40. Disappointed with that second leg up, so probably a second leg trap. Either this is leg one, pullback leg two, and then a failure, or it could be leg one, actual pullback, small second leg that just failed horribly. Bulls super disappointed and selling out of their longs. Excuse me if I go a little slow today and if I sound different, I'm sick. So this is 41, probably going lower, but may pull back first. 42, small pullback and a sell-off, channeling lower. Again, 43, channeling lower. Lots of overlap here on 44. Could be a spike and bear trend, spike and channel bear trend on a smaller time frame. And because of all this overlap and the tick gaps up against the trend here at support, I expect us to find more buyers here for a leg up. Excuse me. So possibly buyers down here. If I were short, I'd probably start to take profits, certainly above the bars, because we run the risk. We run the risk of finding buyers down here and this turning into the low of a trading range and we rally. So far, we have consistent lower highs, lower low here. We need another lower low, and that'll really confirm the bear trend in my eyes. In my eyes, we're inside of a bear channel already, but the day has a lot of trading range price action. We lost a lot of buying pressure through here, and then this rally failed so horribly, the bulls may totally give up if we get a good breakout. Good breakout here, 45, but a small bar and lots of overlap. It's a lower low, so that means we're probably in a bear trend, probably going lower. But if you're a bear and you were holding short through all this, when you went sideways for a few bars, and now you're getting this breakout bar closing on its low, exactly on its low, you may start to take profits, which is why we got 46. 46, bull bar, big tail, probably sellers above, first pullback in the spike and channel bear trend. Bear inside bar, probably going lower. 48, second leg up from 46. And then 49, implied second leg up from 48. So it's 2 legs up at the EMA, probably sellers up here. A little bit higher on 50, but then outside down 51. 51, strong enough bar for a second leg, but the rally up from 46, strong enough for a second leg. So we may find buyers here. It's about the midpoint of the rally. If you measure from here to here, or even here. So reasonable, but probably low probability. Bad follow through for the bears. Reasonable stop entry for the bulls. I wouldn't be taking that, and I think we're going to find sellers above this high, because if you were long anywhere through here, then you get 51. You didn't get your stop hit, but you're sufficiently disappointed, and you're probably going to look to sell rallies. Instead, traders sold to close of 52, betting that we're just going to go a lot lower before we rally. But weak close on 53 tells me that we may pull back, or we're forming some sort of weak channel on a smaller time frame, and we may just grind lower. Overall, a lot of grinding price action today so far. Bad follow through, big tails, lots of overlap. I mean, significant amount of overlap. Breakouts sideways, breakout sideways. So we'll probably just channel lower, grind lower. 54, good follow through, but near inside bar. A little bit of a climax on 55, pulling back into the close. Probably going lower. Really tight channel down, tight micro channel. Could be a second leg down from, 41. Could be a bigger leg 1, pullback leg 2 move. Leg 2 subdivided in 2 or 3 legs. And now going sideways on 56. Probably sellers above. We need a breakout test of the 45 close, or the low of yesterday, or last month's high, which is this green line. You can't see it, but below this green line, there's a dashed red line, which represents yesterday's low. Probably sellers above. Instead, sellers at the close. 57, again, another bit of a climax here, pulling back into the close. If I were short, I'd probably get out above any of these bars, because the risk is getting really big, and if we get a pullback, there's no telling how deep it'll go, especially because of the bad follow-through. It may start scaring the bears out of their shorts. Micro double bottom, buy signal bar for the bulls. Let's see the entry bar. I think we're going to find sellers above here, but I do want to breakout test the 45 close. That way I know that the bears are strong enough to hold it down. Good entry bar for the bulls. Smallish bar, which means it's sustainable. We could get a second leg up even if we do pull back first. Trying to get a breakout test of the 45 close, but now sideways on 60. Now, if you're a bull, you take this stop entry. Are you really going to hold right here, or are you going to just look to take profits? Because every bull in the world took profits here. It just makes sense. I'm flat. I see a buy signal bar, micro double bottom. I expect a test of the 45 close. All right, I'm going to take the entry. All right, got my entry. I'm in profit. I'm in profit. Okay, we're going sideways. I'm still in profit. I'm still in profit, but we're going sideways. You really want to hold right here. This is the first pullback in this 8 or 9 bar micro channel. It's definitely going to be minor unless it's crazy strong, and this does not look crazy strong. Also, too, what is bar 59? If you had to choose, is it a follow-through bar? Is it a signal bar? Is it an entry bar? Is it a breakout bar? And the answer is, this is a breakout bar, and this is an entry bar. This was the signal bar. So this is the breakout and entry bar. Same thing. So this breakout bar, this entry bar, needs follow-through. Follow-through is 60. 60 is follow-through. And this follow-through bar is a near inside bar that found sellers above the high of 59. And if you're long, it just makes sense. Just get out. Just hit close. If we start to break out below 60, that means that we're triggering a stop entry short in a bear trend below support that we just broke out of, and we are testing, just do that, and we're trying to test the low close 45. We didn't even get there, and we may not get there. So it makes sense. 61, we failed to go higher, and bulls gave up. 61, probably going lower. Inside bar, but still probably going lower. 63, bit of a surprise, a little bit of a neurotic bar, We broke out below, broke out above, big tail above, big tail below. It's neurotic. It's kind of like unpredictable behavior. That's neurotic behavior, in my opinion. Something's coming into view here, this dashed red line. It's a thick red line, and it's lasting more than 1 day, so that tells me it's a weekly low. This is the low of last week, because that's how I have these lines programmed. And because this is last week's low, I expect us to test this low. If we continue to sell off, unless we start to find a lot of buying pressure, 63 is a second leg up from 58, but it broke out below 61 and 62 and reversed up. So it's a deep pullback here. At least maybe 70 or 80% of this rally was undone with this pullback. And that tells you that we're in a trading range. We're not in a bull trend. Because in bull trends, you don't have 80% pullbacks of rallies. Maybe you do in weak bull trends, but I would not call this a weak bull trend. I would call this a tight trading range. So probably sellers above. We may go a little bit higher first, but I would not be long for any reason. Sellers at the close. We have a small attempt at a rally that failed. We have an inside bar, and I bet we'll go lower. The stop entry triggered, and it's a good entry bar, although a small entry bar. Still probably going lower. 66, bad follow-through for the follow-through bar. Or excuse me, well, really, 65 is the bear breakout bar. And 66 is the follow-through bar. And the follow-through bar sucks. It's a bull doji. And it's an outside bar. It's 1, 2, 3 legs down at support. We could rally. We're also right here at 60.55, which is a whole round number. And ES sure does like to move in 5-point increments, which explains why last week's high is 60.60. I wonder what last week's low is. It's 47.50. So we're not that close to 45. That's further down. Anyways, probably sellers above. Instead, sellers at the close, definitely going lower. I bet we're going to get bad follow through, and we sure did. Probably sellers above. Instead, sellers at the close. Now we're about to test last week's close here on 69. We're so close, we probably will get there. But often what happens is an obvious magnet is just below the market, a point, 2 points, 3 points. And a lot of times traders know that and will start to buy just before we get there. It's so obvious that if you're short, yeah, we might get there, but we're close enough. I'll just take profit. But we tested it. It looks like we tested it to the tick on this doji bar, 70. Small pullback and then a sell-off. The sell-off failed, so we may find buyers here or profit taking and go sideways. But more follow-through for the bears. Getting a little parabolic here. This curve of this sell-off is starting to get parabolic, so probably we'll find profit taking and buyers soon. But no reason to buy yet. If I'm short, I would be out above any of these bars. More follow through 72, and then a climactic bar 73. 73 has a big prominent tail, and that tells you that we became parabolic and all the bears that were short took profits. And look where we reversed up from. I was just talking about whole round numbers. We reversed up from 60-40, a whole round number. I don't know if 5 technically is a whole round number, but ES likes to move in 5-point increments. And look at where we're closing at. We're closing at 60.45. So probably going a little bit higher, but probably sellers above. Instead, inside bar, bear bar, failed bull breakout 75. Strong bear breakout 76. Probably buyers down here. Micro double bottom 77, and then a big rally on 78. 78, probably a buy vacuum test of resistance. Last week's low. Probably will find profit taking above this bar. Small follow through, and then more follow through. Bar 80, and then bar 81. More follow through. So possibly always in long at the close. And we may be going higher. We may gap up tomorrow. I would expect us to gap up. Maybe we gap down and then we rally on the open tomorrow. But if I just think about what kind of bar is on the daily chart, just looking at this chart, we opened here and then we closed here. So we have a prominent tail on the bottom of the bear bar that is today, and a small tail on the top. So I expect us to rally, excuse me. So I expect us to rally. We may pull back, but probably disappointed bears down here. We'll look to take profits on whatever long or shorts they're still in if we do sell off. Anyway, that's my review, and thanks for watching it and dealing with my sickness. Thanks, bye.